6A Division I bracket, the headline here, the big picture, is that this is the land of giants. I mean this both figuratively and literally. Literally, the largest schools in the state are here. This is the largest bracket. This is, theoretically, this should be all the biggest schools in the state in 6A Division I. And I think figuratively, it is also the land of giants. If you look at our computer rankings, the new computer rankings, which will go up on TexasFootball.com tomorrow, of the top 8 teams in Class 6A, how about 7 of them are in the D1 bracket?
Yeah.
This is an absolute fireworks factory of a bracket. You could make a real argument that almost every one of the elite 6A teams went to D1. Now, there are some other ones in the D2 bracket that we're going to talk about.
Yep.
But this is a really, really, really loaded bracket.
Yeah, and some of the regions are especially tough, but there's going to be at least a couple teams who are going to have to play a couple state championships before the state championship. That's how tough this is.
It's really tough. And so for me, what's going to be interesting is to see who can come out unscathed. There are some brackets in which you are able to maybe get to the third round before you get challenged.
Yep.
Not here. Not here. Now, there are some teams, for example, I think some teams have easier paths than others. I think Allen's got a pretty easy path. Not easy, but easier than most. You got a dicey game against Hebron, but then in a regional semifinal, they may see a team like Arlington Martin, who's playing well, or Odessa Permian.
Yeah.
And then in a regional final, maybe a team like Duncanville. Depending on if you buy Duncanville as an elite team, we can find out then. But Allen has an easier – that's a tough path, and that's an easier path than most.
Yep.
It's arguably, of the big-time contenders, it's the easiest path. So for me, the headline here is that this is the land of giants. 3 contenders. I'm going to give 3 contenders for each bracket.
Time to make people angry.
A lot of people angry. Let's start with the Allen Eagles. In part because we think that they are an elite team. Right? I don't think that's – they're 10-0. They're rolling right now. I have questions as to whether or not they've been challenged yet.
Yeah.
If they played a team the caliber that they're going to have to face for at least 4 of their 6 playoff games.
This is always the hardest part with Allen. When we look at their schedule each year, we know they're one of the best teams in the state, but we don't have a lot to measure them against because, all due respect to that district, it's just not as tough as what some of these teams go through.
And especially this year, wherein Denton Geyer is not as good as we thought they were going to be, right? Wiley is not as good as we thought they were going to be. And so, for me, that's what's really interesting is that Allen's a bit of a mystery still, but they have to start at least as one of the 3 contenders that I've got here.
For sure.
Katie. Listen, 8 state championships. This is a program that we have number 1 in the Dave Campbell's Texas Football 6A rankings. They have been rolling along. You can make an argument that they have 2 wins that are better than Allen's, than Allen's best win with the Woodlands, which that win has aged very well.
Very well.
As well as Katy Cinco Ranch, which is a very good district foe. So, Katy has to be a contender. Yeah. As does Converse Judson. Yep. They were our number 1 team in all year long until they were lost to Smithson Valley. A lot of this comes down to, this is going to come down to that area round matchup. That area round matchup almost certainly, nothing is for sure. They got to get past their bi-district matchups first. But we're looking at a Judson Lake Travis rematch in the area round. A lot of it comes down to what happens in that game, and a lot of that comes down to the health of the quarterbacks. I know Matthew Baldwin, I think, rolled an ankle this past week. Yep. How healthy is he? How healthy is Julian Williams, who has been sitting out for the past 5 weeks?
Right. And he played last week against Canyon.
Did he?
Put up numbers, but there's still some concern that he's just not 100%.
Okay, so then there we go. I mean, there's questions around Converse Judson, but those are my 3 contenders. My sleeper here is Saxe. I think that I think that Region 2 is maybe the most interesting in the. I think the top 2 teams in Region 2 went to Division 2 bracket in Spring Westfield and Klein Collins, and so then you're left with teams like I'm sorry, that's not true. The Woodlands, of course, is there. The Woodlands, a state finalist a year ago. I think people are going to want to hop on board the Round Rock Cedar Ridge bandwagon, maybe a Coppell bandwagon, something like that. Mesquite Horn's been great. But Saxe, very quietly 10-0, and they put up numbers. They put up big-time offense.
Yep.
And so you want to talk about a second-round matchup with the Woodlands. Watch out for Saxe. I think they're my sleeper in 6A Division I.